We've seen our fair share of smartphones embracing machine learning, but Huawei's new Mate and Mate 10 Pro seem seriously committed to the cause. In fact, when we met with Huawei, they insisted on calling these things intelligent machines, not smartphones. We'll have to wait and see how the company's push for smarter phones plays out, but in the meantime, let's take a closer look at Huawei's work. Now, for the most part, these are the same phones. Both use Huawei's high-end Kirin 970 chipset with what the company calls a neural processing unit for better on-device machine learning and intelligence. In fact, while Huawei hopes developers create apps specifically for the Kirin's NPU, it'll also play nice with apps created with TensorFlow Lite and Facebook's Cafe 2 frameworks in mind. Unfortunately, it'll be a little while before you get to test any of those out. What else? Both have handsome, curved, mostly glass bodies, and both run Android 8.0 Oreo with Huawei's updated EMUI 8 interface. It's been updated to feel more lightweight and easier to use with larger screen devices. The most notable additions we noticed were the ability to split screen an app when a notification pops up while you're in a full screen mode, and a floating navigation key that acts like the gestures available on devices like the P10, so tap the dot once to go back, hold it to go home, and swipe it to view your recent apps. It's a neat touch, but it definitely takes some getting used to. So what about those differences? Well, the standard Mate 10 has a 5.9-inch LCD screen running at Quad HD and comes with 4GB of RAM, 64GB of storage, and a microSD slot. Fair enough. Then there's the Pro, which is obviously better than the normal Mate 10 in some ways and actually worse in others. It has a slightly larger 6-inch AMOLED screen, but it runs at a lower resolution. It's basically a taller 1080p. The screen's 18:9 aspect ratio means the Pro is a little narrower and more pleasant to hold, but it doesn't have a headphone jack or a microSD card slot like the regular Mate 10. Seriously? That doesn't sound very Pro to us. At least it packs 6GB of RAM and 256GB of storage, and I'm personally very pleased that it has a fingerprint sensor on the back instead of beneath the screen. The Pro also packs a few extra touches, like the ability to run a desktop-like interface when connected to a big screen, and landscape modes for certain apps, though we're not really sure why these couldn't be implemented on the regular Mate 10. Thankfully, they both use the same Leica-powered dual camera, and it's pretty impressive. Huawei paired a 12-megapixel color camera with a 20-megapixel monochrome sensor for extra detail, and both have impressive f1.6 apertures. They both work together to churn out some surprisingly good-looking photos. The camera is also one of the places where Huawei's neural processing unit seems really useful. If you point the camera at some food, it'll figure out what it's looking at and tune the image quality to make your lunch look a little more impressive than usual. Ditto for flower photos, which the Mate 10 processes differently from, say, a regular green plant. Not having to switch scene modes to suit what's in front of you seems awfully handy, and it worked pretty well during our hands-on time, but we'll have to see how well this works in the real world. Another bright spot for Huawei's machine learning chops came in the form of a customized version of Microsoft's Translate app, which yielded accurate Chinese to English translations almost instantly after taking a photo of the text. Yes, you're right, this was a canned demo, but we got some similarly quick results for Japanese text too. All told, the Mate 10 is shaping up to be a solid successor to a phone that we liked more than we thought we would. The Mate 10 Pro, on the other hand, well, we're not convinced it has enough going on to really earn that Pro title. Stick around for more, we'll be testing these things more thoroughly very soon.